All right, so this episode we're just gonna do about basically we're just gonna talk about making the episodes, essentially, because
Yeah.
yeah, because we made like this Google form that we're gonna try to like use to survey what people actually want to hear about kind of the industry and stuff. Because there's not a lot of what
Well,
would
I
you
mean,
call
so basically, we're trying to like sort of kick off a second season and kind of like improve the format and
Yeah.
hopefully figure it out what people like to see or to hear about, and maybe try to target videos for those kind of topics. And
Yeah.
the Google format hopefully is gonna help us if people fill it up, which
yeah,
we hope they do.
which we hope for the.
Because nobody's
We're just
leaving
gonna
comments
spam
on the
people.
YouTube. So
We're just gonna spam people until they do it.
yes.
Which really it's a great way to gain followers. Yeah, because there's not a lot of. I mean, there's visual effects and like post production, video log, podcast, whatever you want to call it, out there. But it's kind of like these reviews of videos, or just kind of they're made to be like all funny and quirky. And that's not exactly what we're trying to do. I think it's really meant to be more of like a serious conversation about a lot of the topics of post production and visual effects.
But also we had trouble finding people to talk with.
Mm-hmm.
We had trouble getting them, to talk to us, or we actually had trouble finding them at all because we wanted to get some programmers from software, that is using visual effects, but either we got sent to the PR section of the company,
salespeople,
which is not really what we wanted to talk. Like we don't want to talk trash about the software. We just want to know like how it working
works
with the software. Like what their motive behind certain function is, or stuff like that.
Yeah. It's surprising. Yeah, and I mean, part of this is probably like the culture where, I mean, I guess a lot of like visual effects people / software developers are not really the most extroverted type. Like, I feel like they wouldn't want to be interviewed necessarily.
Right.
But also, it's kind of hard to get in touch with them without being just sent straight to like a salesperson.
Yeah, it is.
And there's probably they probably feel a lot of pressure, kind of not to say the wrong thing, or like things being construed the wrong way.
Well, thankfully we edit our stuff before putting it online. So.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like we're not going to put anything up that nobody wants to see or nobody wants to be out there.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting problem. Where like if you want to actually talk about, because I guess that's kind of why we really are doing this in a way, because we ourselves are trying to figure out like what is the real motivation behind a lot of these things, not just like, oh, here's the new version, or here's what we improve. Well, it's like, why did you do it that way, and how exactly does it work?
Yeah.
Because I think that's more useful and more relevant to people that actually work in the business and are trying to figure things out.
And I think even knowing a little bit of like what's behind the button can help as well.
No, of course. I feel like that's like half the time that's the problem, is like we're trying to just always guesstimate what's actually going on behind things.
Yeah.
And less so in Nuke. Nuke is I guess Nuke has this issue as well, but it's more open-ended, where you kind of see the mechanics a little bit more. But if you go to something like After Effects, for a long time there was just like it was a mystery how color actually worked in After Effects. I don't think anybody really understood how it worked exactly.
Which part of After Effects?
Color management in After Effects.
Oh yeah. That's true. Well, not to mention, like, how does the tracker work in After Effects? Nobody knows.
How does anything work? Like, After Effects, it has a button for everything, but it's kind of like, how does it actually... Like, what's going on?
What's going on there? Yeah.
Yeah. So we made, like, this little questionnaire. We're going to try to send that out to people. and hopefully they'll kind of be responsive, or at least somebody will be responsive. And
Yeah, maybe nobody is interested in that, so we'll just skip on
maybe
that.
nobody cares. Maybe everyone just wants to like have funny videos about how the VFX in Eternals look funny, or
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, it's like me. I have this. Speaking about that, like I was watching. Me and my girlfriend were watching. We were watching some VFX movie like the other day, and we basically came to the realization that pretty much after 2012, VFX is pretty much like high-end visual effects, kind of like tapered off, where like it doesn't really improve much more after that. At least not for like the layman person. Like everything kind of just looks good after 2012.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, like if you watch like Star Wars Episode 1, you're like there's some stuff. It's good, but it's like you can tell that, like some of the
Like the
stuff
improvements are very little compared to before.
Yeah, but then if you watch something made in like 2012 versus something made like yesterday, it's like it's kind of hard to tell what's actually even better
Right.
about it. I can tell that some of the dynamics are better. Like things like Houdini definitely made a difference. Like you see a lot more
Yeah, there's a lot more
simulation.
simulation stuff, smoke and water.
Yeah, like that stuff improved for sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of actual rendering quality and kind of the scale of the effects, like it hasn't really changed much.
We actually we're watching The Witches, but we watched The Witches. So there's a
Witcher, you mean?
No, The Witches.
The
It's an old movie from the 90s that Jim Henson did, or at least the Jim Henson Company. I don't know if Jim Henson did. But it has some
puppets.
Well, it has a lot of puppets. No, actually, it only has 2 puppets, so not that many.
Wow.
Surprisingly,
So
yeah.
conservative. For
The
Jim
puppeteers, like we're scrolling, I'm like only 5 puppeteers, like.
Oh.
And then, but
They
you
were
know, like
holding
it had face masks and stuff like that. There were maybe a couple of green screen I noticed, not too many. But then they remade it recently. So the recent one is, obviously full CG. There's these kids that turn into mice, and they're full CG mice, obviously. And it's hilarious because the puppet looks nothing like the real mice, so you can tell when they're like puppets and when they're real mice in the old one.
Mm-hmm.
But the new one is like full CG, and they look great, but they don't. Kind of like it's like at least I knew when the real mice was a real mouse, and I was like, oh wow, that mouse is highly trained, to go up things and down things and taking stuff around. And these ones are like, well, yeah, they look like CG. I don't know what it is. They're too perfect.
Well, it's just like
they're too perfect.
It's like they're CG. We're not at that level. I mean, unless like Weta's doing it or something, like you're gonna be able to tell.
I don't know who's doing it, but I mean, they look really good, but kind of funny. So they look like great. They look like Marvel movies, like that high quality level of CG. So
yeah, I keep touching my nose. I look like I'm like a cocaine addict or something.
Nah, it's just a cold.
Yeah, it's just cold. Yeah, it's like 10 degrees.
Yeah.
The questionnaire basically just talks about like how long the episode should be, like because it's hard to tell whether like, I know there's a lot of like Joe Rogan fans out there that will sit down for a 3-hour thing, but I think there's a lot of people that don't want to do that.
A lot of people with ADD in our industry.
Yeah. Then there's like whether or not people cared about what specific things about the industry. Like I know like if you go to like FX Guide and things like that, like, it gets like super technical, and that can be cool for some people, like if you're kind of into FX PhD and things like that. But
yeah,
for a lot of people, like I mean, I don't know. There's only so much about like path tracing that I can really commit to, learn about or read about. So yeah, it's a lot of things like that. We're gonna send that out. We're gonna try to improve our camera quality and things like that, and like our intro outro animations, and hopefully it'll be good. And hopefully we'll get some
Actually,
response. So yeah, so hopefully people who are watching this or who will get the forum will give us some answers, and then we can keep improving the channel. And the goal is just to get kind of the most usable content for people, and from the most knowledgeable people, people that just are kind of in there and actually making the stuff, making the tools,
right.
Doing the work.
Hopefully we
That's
can
really the
use
goal.
what we did before as an example of what our next videos are gonna be, so that they feel more confident that we're not just gonna like
Yeah.
I don't know, talk trash about
yeah. So, that is a weird fear. A lot of people have that fear.
yeah.
But I guess that's kind of what the that's what the internet is, really.
Yeah, you never
it's
know.
not even unreasonable. The internet is filled with a lot of kind of shady things.
Mhm.
So we're not trying to do that. So hopefully it works out.
All right. Yeah.
We're just so thrifty with this stuff. Like, I feel like we're just like anyone else would just go out and like buy like tons of equipment and just figure this stuff out. But we're like, no, like how can we do this with like nothing?
Well, I mean, we have a bunch of stuff, so there must be a way to just piece the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly. How can we do this without buying any new equipment?
I mean, I bought this beautiful like
Yes, your backdrop. I mean, and I have this.
backdrop that I can color and paint for each different
have-
episode.
This potentially lead-infested antique screen divider thingy. That's really just hiding some cables and stuff that are back there.
You know what I miss? You had like a white in the first episode. You had a white background.
Okay.
It was like a panel or some sort. That it looked really cool.
I just had a white background.
No, it was like a white panel hanging on the wall.
Oh, it was an audio. It's an audio panel. I could put one here.
Yeah.
I was thinking about
Was
it.
that an audio panel? It was like intricate of some sort. It looked like a very complex frame.
Oh, no, I know what it is. It's in the other room.
Hmm.
I could put something like that over here. I was gonna put a bunch of paintings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see.
Just don't put the painting that you show me.
Oh yeah, the controversial one. 'Cause it has nudity.
The controversial
It has
painting.
nudity in it, yeah. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
sued, and the I don't know. Conservative people will hate me and attack me
Yes.
because of nipples.
Your neighbors are gonna come and be like, "So you're."
One of the neighbors, maybe, yeah. They'll be like, "Oh no,
Oh no.
I saw a nipple in your video. It was in the picture, in the far
I
background."
saw a painted nipple in your video, not even a real one.
Hmm. Not allowed. Not in this neighborhood. I wonder what they'll do once they find out about the pride flag. They must know about the pride flag.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's out
They must
there.
have seen
Yeah,
it.
they must have seen it. These are people. They have like and good for them. Like they have like a Mary Magdalene statue in the front of their house. Have you seen it? It's like a statue, like not like a like a figurine. Like it's
Mhm.
it's the height of a human. And it's just like when you drive up into their house, there's a statue of Mary, just like chilling there. Like, and
I did not see that.
I guess you.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of freedom of speech, right?
No, yeah, it's all good. It's actually kind of impressive. I'm like, because like most people will put up like they'll put up a flag or
Like
just
a
like
figure, like a tiny figurine or something.
yeah, like they'll have like a cross or something like that. It's like no, these people like made a statue. Like there's like an architectural commitment to, like they might as well make their house into like a cathedral or
Maybe
something.
they salvaged it from a church.
The guy is a deacon, so he probably They were probably gonna throw it out, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'll take this like life-size statue of Mary, probably made out of granite and maybe worth like $30,000." No, it's good for them. Like I would almost.
Possible.
I feel like I would almost, if I had a fine like that, if I found it like on the street, I would take it, but it would just be like questionable where I would put it. You know.
Right.
It would be back here. Actually, it'd be right here. It'd be just like a statue of Mary Magdalene.
Watching us from the back.
Yeah.